So long story short, the crazy stuff wouldn't have happened if my mom and dad just would have talked to me, if they, but so long story short, they, I never really interacted with my mom and dad. Maybe once or twice in college. Before that, since high school, really. Once or twice in college. One of the times I showed my mom and dad the Quadra Mall, they didn't believe it. But my mom and dad already had contentment for me from high school because of the shoe machine. So, as I said, none of the crazy stuff would have happened if they would have just talked to me, but they put me on Kauai, and then my grandpa's like, oh, Ryan just wants independence. And my mom's like, yeah, he just wants independence. Get him out of our lives. Yeah, we want nothing to do with him. And my grandpa's like, yeah, that's what Ryan really wants is independence. And so I'm going to try to make him independent. And I'm like, guys, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology. I called my mom. I asked her, can you please help me just go to get a master's degree or something? Or, no, you can't. You're schizophrenic. You're never going to be able to work in your life. You're mentally ill. You need to see a doctor. So I'm stuck on Kauai. And then my grandpa's trying to make me independent. And then I started trying to get the Quadra model out. And then long story short, I already talked about this before, but my mom had my password for my Facebook. So she's deleting or she's hiding all my posts on the Quadra model. And then I don't need to go into all this again, but my point is, so I'm calling my mom and I'm asking her, can I talk to my dad? Can I talk to dad? And one thing I wanted to get was, I wanted to get basketball videos of when I was younger because first off, the main thing was in college, my whole life I had fan clubs of girls. Even in college, girls liked me, but I lost the swag flow my sophomore year, and this was after I showed my mom and dad the Quadra Mall, and they left me. And then I lost a lot of my basketball DVDs, but then I wanted to get back into basketball because I figured out that I can only rap when I'm playing basketball. And the other thing, so I'm studying my basketball videos, and I'm wanting to get back into basketball, so I'm trying to figure out how I used to shoot. This is when I started to figure things out, and that's when I figured out that the shoot away was what messed up my shot and all that. So I'm studying the videos, but I noticed the swag flow. I'm not going to talk about the swag flow, and I'm not going to talk about getting into too many details about what happened to my shot. But basically, I figured out the shoot away machine messed up my shot, and I also discovered the swag flow. But when I discovered swag flow, I lost it, and this was my sophomore year of college. Before that, I always had fan clubs of girls. So I wanted to get basketball videos so I could study the swag flow, also so I can study my shot. Now, my grandpa, he would say, but the thing is, my grandpa didn't believe me. Okay, I'll get to this, but my grandpa would say that, anyway, long story short, I'm calling my mom, and I'm like, Mom, can you and Dad help me to get basketball videos? My mom's like, oh my God, this is why you're schizophrenic, because you're stuck in the past, because you can't get over the past. Didn't your grandpa teach you not to talk about the past? And like I said, this is what my grandpa's thing was. My grandpa's thing was, after all the abuse that happened, my grandpa was like, never talk about the past. But he didn't talk about basketball. It's just never talk about the past, never talk about that abuse. And, when you're in the flow, you're in the eternal moment. And I was cool with that. I was like, I never want to talk about the past. But I was like, Mom, can I talk to Dad? And my mom was like, no, he doesn't want to talk to you. He's never going to talk to you the rest of his life. He's embarrassed that he has a schizophrenic son. He's embarrassed. He can't believe, he did all this work for you. He did all this stuff for you. And then he put in all that money into basketball. He did everything for you. And then now you're just a schizophrenic fucking freak. You're a schizophrenic fucking loser. I'm not even joking. This is how my mom talked to me. And I'm like, Mom, I don't have fucking schizophrenia. What are you talking about? But she hasn't seen me. She's living in Los Angeles. I'm in Kauai. She hadn't seen me since high school, really. She saw me one time in college. Once or twice, maybe 3 times in college. So I'm like, no, I don't have schizophrenia. And she's like, yeah, yes, you do. You have schizophrenia. And your dad is never going to talk to you. Get that through your head. It's never going to happen. You have to accept that. And again, she's still stuck in the past. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, I'm stuck in the past. She's still stuck in the shoot away machine thing. Because yes, at that time I was like, I need my dad's help. And I tried to get my dad to help me, and my dad would help me. But then my dad would get frustrated. You're shooting wrong. What the fuck? What's wrong with you're shooting square. We didn't know it was a shoot away machine. But I didn't know that either. So, and then my dad would go, and I give up. You fucking suck. And I'd be like, Dad, I need help. Can you please help? No, you ask me again, I'm gonna beat you up. And then my dad would beat me up. And then my grandpa comes in from Kauai. My grandpa didn't know what was going on. My grandpa's like, oh, Ryan just wants independence. And he didn't, I'm going to get to this, but my grandpa's like, oh, Ryan just wants independence. And Ryan, if your dad says no, you just have to learn to accept his calls, and everything is just fine. And no, not everything is just, but everything is just fine. And, you can't make things happen. If your dad says he doesn't want to shoot with you, and that was the thing is I was cool with that. But like I said, I went to the psychologist because what would happen is if I was playing good, my dad would come and we would help me shoot. and he would shoot with me. But, you know, if like I had a game where I scored like 20 or something, my dad, or 16, my dad would come to the next game, and then my dad would shoot me in the backyard. But my grandpa later would be like, oh, it wasn't because you were playing good. It was because you were treating him well. No, you see, my grandpa always tried to make me the bad guy. And that's what I'm trying to say. He made me crazy. My grandpa made me crazy. So, so I'm trying to tell my mom, I don't have schizophrenia. I want to talk to dad. Can I talk to dad? You know, I wanted to see if my dad could maybe help me get basketball videos when I was younger. I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to get all this settled, and I wanted them to know I don't have schizophrenia. But I was like, he's never going to talk to you. You have to get that to your head. You can't make things happen. You can't force things. And again, what is she stuck in? She's stuck in the fucking shoot-away machine when I needed help with my shot, and I was trying to force my dad to help me. But it was a tragic situation. But, you know, they thought that there's something wrong with me, like I'm some type of guy who just tries to force things. It was a tragic situation with the shoot-away machine. It was a bad situation. If it wasn't for the shoot-away machine, that would have never happened. It wasn't something inherently, innately wrong with me. But that's what my mom wanted to think. So then I told my Mom, this is the first time I ever brought up the shoot-away, ever. I said, Mom, I figured out what happened in college. It was or in high school. It was a shoot-away machine. Even before high school, it was 7th grade, and my dad got it. But I figured out what happened to my shot and why me and my dad fought. It was a shoot-away machine. My mom goes, oh my God, oh my God, you playing the shoot-away machine? And she's like laughing and being ridiculous, being really obnoxious. And I'm like, no, Mom, it was a shoot-away machine. And I tried to explain to her. She's like, oh my God, get over the fuck. Why are you still talking about basketball? You're stuck in the past about basketball. This is why you have schizophrenia. I'm like, I don't have schizophrenia, Mom, but I want to explain to you what happened with the shoot-away machine. Oh my God, what? The shoot-away machine didn't mess up your shot. What happened was you couldn't handle the pressure. You couldn't handle the pressure. It was too much for you, and you started to become mentally ill, and that's what happened. And you lost it. You became mentally ill, and that's why your shot got messed up. That's why your game got messed up, and that's what happened. It wasn't the shoot-away. If anything, the shoot-away would have helped you. That's not true. The shoot-away was it completely. I was always perfect under pressure. I was a starting point guard on varsity. Everything was good. Everything was good except my shot. And me and Dad didn't fight about anything but my shot. So that's what I had to deal with my mom. Then I go to my grandpa, and I tell my grandpa, I figured out, you know, can you talk to Mom and Dad? And I want to talk to Dad about what happened, you know, in high school, and I want to move on, but you know, I figured out what happened in high school. It was the shoot-away machine is what messed up my shot. My grandpa goes, just like my fucking mom. And he goes, it wasn't the shoot-away machine. What happened was you were playing against bigger, better players, and you got frustrated, and then you took out your frustration on your dad, and that's what happened. That's why your dad beat you up, and that's what happened. You know, it wasn't because of the shoot-away machine. You were just playing against bigger, better players. And I was like, so, again, my grandpa's blaming me. I'm blaming the victim. My mom's blaming me. It was the shoot-away machine. Now, another reason why my grandpa, I don't think, believed me was because at that time, my shot was still messed up. And now, so I'll get to this is, I showed before what happened to my shot. I'm going to show really quick. When I was, and like I said, I never wanted to show people because I didn't want to make good shooter sink, but I'm only giving the very basic the very basic surface level stuff. Okay, so this isn't a lot that I'm showing right now because I don't want to make good shooters think. But basically, what happened with my shot was when I was a great shooters, what they do is they'll have their left foot pointed out this way, and then their right foot points toward the basket. And if you shoot like this, you're gonna make your shots. It's gonna be automatic. You make your shots like this. Okay, right foot toward the basket, left foot pointed out. Now, when I was picking the ball off the rack with the shooting machine, I remember the first fight that me and Dad had when my dad beat me up. The first time my dad ever beat me up, 10th grade. Again, my dad was upset because I just lost my starting spot. I was a starting point guard on varsity. I just lost it. And I'm picking the ball off the rack, and I'm shooting. And my dad's in the backyard, and he's sitting there. As I said, my dad went to every one of my games my whole life. He shot with me every single day, almost my whole life. My dad loved basketball. He loved me. Everything was good. But I'm shooting in the backyard, and I'm picking up off the rack, and I know what was happening because I would go like this, and then hop, and then shoot, and then go around, and then go like this, picking the ball off the rack. And because I'm stepping like this, and the rack's right here, my left foot's pointing forward, and I'm going like this, and then I'm shooting. Now, I never thought, this is why I was such a good shooter, I was just automatic. So I just automatically did what was perfect. But because I'm picking up off the rack, it's messing up my form. It's messing up my mechanics. So I started shooting my left foot in front of my right. because I'm stepping like this. Whereas before, I'm not gonna go into details about how good shooters move into shots and stuff. You can't do it with the shooting machine. I'm not gonna go into details. I don't make good shooters think. But before I would step, my left foot would always be pointed out, and I'd be like this. But what my dad did was, my dad was like, Ryan, you're shooting your left foot in front of your right. It's because of the shoot away. This is why I say if it wasn't for the shoot away, this never would have happened. None of the crazy stuff would have happened. But then my dad was like, I give up. I fucking quit. You suck. Every time I fix your shot, you go back to shooting with your left foot in front of your right. It's because I was picking the ball off the rack. So he goes in, but I'm like, Dad, come on, please help me. I didn't know what was wrong with my shot. I didn't know how to fix it. So then my dad's like, you ask me again, I'm going to fuck you up. That was the first time he beat me up. So, and I can go more into details about what happened to my shot and how the shoot away machine messes up, but I don't want to make the shooters think. But that's my point, is if it wasn't for the shoot away, it never would have happened. But the problem was, at this time in my life, I was still shooting wrong, and my grandpa probably saw me shoot, you know, and he's probably like, oh, you still suck. It wasn't the shoot away machine, you just suck, you know? So when I had fixed my shot, I still hadn't fixed it. I didn't really start to fix it until 2019 when I really started to look at the videos. But at this point, so what my dad did after the shoot away messed up my shot, and like I said, I never wanted to make good shooters think, but this is just very basic, and it's not going to make good shooters think too much. I'm not going to go into very big details. But what my dad did was, he told me, okay, well, in the 10th grade, my dad was like, okay, just pick the ball off the rack, and then put your right foot forward, and then shoot, and keep your left foot pointed straight, and put your right foot to the side, and this will make you sideways. So I'm picking the ball off the rack, and I'm going like this, and I'm shooting form shots. And I remember my grandpa came in 11th grade, and he was looking at me shooting form shots like this, and I would make them sometimes. My grandpa would be like, amazing. No, if I was shooting regular like I shot, I'd be making every single shot, and he really would have thought amazing. But I'm going like this. Because my dad told me, okay, well, pick the ball off the rack, because I can't step like with my foot out. So he's like, okay, put your left foot forward. So my dad ended up making me shoot the exact opposite of how I shot when I was the best shooter in the country, and how great shooters shoot. Great shooters shoot with their left foot pointed out, right foot pointed forward. My dad told me, after the shoot away messed up my shot, to make me so I would step with my right foot forward, he told me put my left foot forward, and put your left foot pointed straight to the basket, and put your right foot to the side. So I'm shooting like this. He totally messed it up. And I'm not mad at him. I feel bad. It was a tragic situation. I want to move on. They're the ones who don't want to move on. So, but it was tragic. So then I'm shooting, I'm shooting like this. But that's the wrong way to shoot. That's not how good shooters shoot. Good shooters shoot with the left foot pointed out and the right foot pointed forward. That's how I shot when I was the best shooter in the country. I later would watch videos and see that. But at this time, when I was in Kauai, I was still shooting like this. So I knew that the shoot away messed up my shot, because I saw the videos of me picking the ball off the rack and stepping like this. And it made me shoot like that, going like this. And it made me shoot with my left foot in front of my right and my left foot pointed forward. But at this time, I still thought that you were supposed to shoot with your left foot pointed forward, because that's what my dad told me to do. So at this time in Kauai in 2013, I'm still shooting like this. But I'm not going to go into details, so I don't want to make good shooters think too much. But I was moving into shots better, because I figured out that it was a shoot away machine that messed up my shot. So I would move into shots more like I did before the shoot away machine. But I was still moving into shots, but still putting my right foot to the side like this, and my left, trying to put my left foot forward. Because I didn't realize, I didn't really study the videos enough. And also, I thought that my dad was right. I thought that my dad was right that I actually put my left foot forward. He told me to do the wrong thing. So, and that never would have happened if it wasn't for the shoot away machine. So at that point, my shot was still messed up. So, I'm trying to, so basically, I tried to tell my grandpa, I figured out the shoot. He's like, it wasn't the shoot away machine. You're just playing against bigger, better players. It was the shoot away machine. So that's why I tried to say my grandpa made me crazy. And then my grandpa's like, oh, you just need independence. That's what you want. And I wanted to talk to my mom, and my mom was just like, oh, you're schizophrenic. It's not the shoot away machine. This is the first time I ever brought up the shoot away machine. It's not the shoot away machine. You just couldn't handle the pressure and you fell apart. And then I'm like, let me just talk to Dad. I want to talk to Dad. But my dad wouldn't talk to me. And he still hasn't talked to me since. The last time my dad probably really talked to me was in high school. Like I said, one time in college, when I showed him the quadrant model, all he told me was, you're schizophrenic. That's the last time he ever talked to me. My sophomore year of college, one time. It's like the 2 times he ever saw me in college. And like I said, they already had a contempt for me from high school. So my mom's like, so my mom already has this hatred toward me, and she's like, you just can't handle pressure. So she has a really low estimation of me, and my grandpa has a low estimation of me. I'm living with my grandpa, in Kauai. So it was just a terrible situation. And that's when things really fell apart. Then I tried to get basketball videos myself, and I was so desperate to get them, it ended up messing that up. And I just, and I tried to get the Quadra model out, but my mom, it was like so much chaos, and things just deteriorated. But I'm trying to say, if I wasn't forced to go to Kauai, if my mom and dad would have just talked to me, if my grandpa would have been like, just make Ryan independent, all this crazy stuff would not have happened. And I discovered a theory of everything. I could have gotten good back into basketball. I just wanted to if I would have gotten basketball videos when I was younger, I could have figured out how to fix my shot sooner. I would have studied the videos and figured it out. And also I wanted to study the swag flow. And for years I was embarrassed. I couldn't move. Like I lost the swag flow. I wanted to figure out what the swag flow. I'm not gonna go into details about that. But my point is, if my mom and dad would just talk to me, give me a little support, but instead I was stuck in this tragedy, dude. And it's been horrible. My life had become terrible, dude. My life had become horrifying. So that's what happened. So I'm trying to talk to him. Things just deteriorated, and I'll get more to what happened.